I need to get this down on paper or a screen or whatever, because if I keep looping this conversation in my head, I'm going to have a stroke. I'm writing this because I need someone to tell me I'm not crazy. Or if I am crazy, I need someone to explain exactly how standing up for an inclusive workplace turned me into the office pariah. My name's Chelsea. I'm 26 and account manager at a mid-sized digital media agency, and up until about 3 weeks ago, I was considered a high-potential employee. I was the one organizing the charity 5Ks. I was the one mentoring the interns. I was the heartbeat of the office culture. Now? Now I'm the person people stop talking to when I walk into the kitchen. It all started 11 months ago when we hired Liam. We were drowning in data work, desperate for a senior data strategist who could actually speak human. When Liam interviewed, he seemed like a unicorn, 28, sharp dresser, incredible portfolio, and during the interview process, he was polite and articulate. We all signed off on him. We thought he was the missing puzzle piece. But the second the ink was dry on his contract, the vibe shifted. It wasn't something you could report on day one. It wasn't overt. He didn't make sexist jokes. He didn't leer. He didn't interrupt women in meetings. If anything, he was too polite. He was like a Victorian butler dropped into a Silicon Valley startup environment. The first month, we all tried to onboard him into the social fabric of the team. Our department, client services, is mostly women. The tech and data team is mostly men. Usually, those groups meshed pretty well. We have happy hours, Slack channels for memes, lunch groups. It's a very bring your whole self to work kind of place. My work besties are Maya, social media lead, and Chloe, another account manager. We sit in a pod configuration. Liam's desk was positioned right across the aisle from us, facing the window. "Hey, Liam," I said during his first week, rolling my chair over. "A few of us are grabbing sushi for lunch. Do you want in? The spicy tuna is life-changing." Liam didn't turn his chair. He kept his eyes on his dual monitors, his fingers flying across the mechanical keyboard. "No, thank you, Chelsea. I packed a lunch." "Oh, okay. Well, maybe next time. We usually go out on Fridays, too." "I prefer to eat at my desk to maximize productivity," he said. His voice was flat, monotone. "Please let me know if you need the Q2 variance report." "Right, okay." I wheeled back to my desk, feeling a little stung. Maya shot me a look over her monitor. "Weirdo," she mouthed. We brushed it off. Some tech guys are introverts, we get it. Not everyone wants to be best friends with their coworkers. But then the pattern started to emerge, and once we saw it, we couldn't unsee it. Liam wasn't introverted, he was selectively social. 2 days after he shut me down for sushi, I watched him interact with Tyler, a junior developer who sits 3 rows back. Tyler walked up to Liam's desk holding a bag of chips. "Yo, Liam, did you see the patch notes for the update last night?" Liam spun his chair around, something he had never done for me or Maya. His face lit up. He leaned back, crossing his legs, looking relaxed and approachable. "Dude, yes, the nerf to the heavy sniper is tragic, but the map changes are actually pretty solid. Are you hopping on tonight?" They talked for 15 minutes. They laughed. Liam made eye contact. He used hand gestures. He was charismatic. Then Chloe walked by. She paused, holding a stack of files. "Oh, are you guys talking about Warzone? My boyfriend plays that constantly. He's obsessed with the new skins." The air left the conversation instantly. It was physical. Liam stopped smiling. He uncrossed his legs and sat up straight, turning his body back toward his screens. "I'm not familiar with the cosmetic items, ma'am," he said. His voice dropped back into that robotic, dead zone. "Tyler, send me that code snippet when you get a chance." He dismissed her. He didn't tell her to go away, but he effectively killed the social interaction the moment a woman entered the space. Tyler looked awkward, mumbled a "yeah, sure," and walked away. Chloe stood there for a second, confused, before heading to the printer. "Did you see that?" Maya whispered to me. "He literally shut down." "He called her ma'am," I whispered back. "She's 24. Why is he acting like she's a customer at a bank in 1950? It started to grate on me. I'm a big believer in soft skills. In our industry, relationships are everything. If you can't build rapport with your team, you can't do the work. And Liam was building a fortress around himself that only men had the password to enter. It wasn't just gaming talk, it was everything. He would spend 20 minutes in the break room debating the best espresso beans with Mark from finance. He would advise the male interns on career paths. He helped Josh fix a flat tire in the parking lot, laughing and getting grease on his shirt. But when I asked him for help with a complex pivot table, something that was technically part of his job description to assist with, he sent me a link to a YouTube tutorial and said, "This should answer your query." When I pushed back, walking to his desk to ask for hands-on help, he stood up. He literally stood up and backed away, putting his chair between us like a shield. "I can email you the instructions again, Chelsea," he said, staring at a point on the wall above my head. "I am on a tight deadline." "I just need 2 minutes, Liam. It's easier if you just show me." "I am not comfortable touching your computer," he said. "Please refer to the video." It felt hostile. It felt like he viewed us as radioactive. By month 3, the office was divided. The guys thought Liam was a solid dude, super smart and chill. The women thought he was a stuck-up, sexist robot. "It's a boys' club," I complained to Maya over drinks one night. "He's actively segregating the office. He creates this environment where the men get mentorship and friendship, and the women get tolerated. It's affecting my work, Maya. I can't get him to collaborate on the client strategy because he won't brainstorm with me. He just wants me to send a ticket and he sends back raw data. No nuance, no conversation." "He barely looks at me," Maya said, swirling her margarita. "I said good morning to him in the elevator and he just nodded at the floor numbers. But then Josh got on and he started chatting about the Knicks." "It's discrimination," I said. The word felt heavy, but right. It is gender-based disparate treatment. He is treating us differently solely because we are women. I decided to stop being passive about it. I'm an account manager. My job is to manage problems. I started tracking it. I didn't think of it as surveillance at the time. I thought of it as gathering data. If I was going to go to HR, I couldn't just say, "He gives me bad vibes." I needed proof. I opened a spreadsheet. I named it Communication Log. October 12th, Liam spoke to Tyler for 14 minutes on non-work topics, declined communication with Chloe on work topic immediately after. October 14th, Liam went to lunch with Mark, Josh, and Kevin, declined open invitation to department lunch, mixed gender. October 20th, Liam offered to help Kevin carry boxes for the event setup, watched Maya struggle with the banner stand, did not offer help. The list grew, and as it grew, my resentment hardened into something solid and sharp. It wasn't just that he was rude, it was that he was professionally holding us back. Because he was so close with the guys, they got better work out of him. Tyler could walk over and say, "Hey, this data looks weird," and Liam would spend an hour debugging it with him. If I had a data issue, I had to submit a formal request, wait 24 hours, and get a cold email response. The men had a fast lane, the women had to wait in traffic. The breaking point, the absolute final straw, happened last month. We were landing a huge client, a massive cosmetics brand. It was an all-hands-on-deck situation. We were working late, we ordered pizza. The vibe was frantic but fun. Everyone was in the conference room, brainstorming, eating, laughing. Liam was there because we needed his projections. Around 8 p.m., the energy was high. We were cracking jokes to break the tension. Maya made a joke about her dating life, something innocuous about a bad Tinder date. Everyone laughed. Even the quiet IT guys chuckled. Liam stood up abruptly. He gathered his laptop and his notebook. "I will finish the projections at my desk," he announced. The room went silent. "Liam, we need you here for the strategy integration," I said. "We're brainstorming." "I cannot work in this environment," he said. He didn't look at Maya. He didn't look at me. "The conversation has veered into personal territory that is unprofessional. I will be at my desk if there is a specific work-related query." He walked out. It sucked the air right out of the room. Maya looked mortified. Was that too much? No, I said, furious. He's being a prick. He talks about his weekends with Tyler all the time. He listens to Tyler talk about his hookups. I've heard them. Maybe he just hates cosmetics, Chloe joked weakly. He hates women, I corrected. He can't stand to be in a room where women are speaking freely. The next day, I rallied the troops. I sat down with Maya and Chloe. I'm going to HR, I told them. This is a hostile work environment. He shamed Maya for a normal conversation, he refuses to collaborate with us, and he's creating a two-tier system where men get access to him and we don't. It's affecting our deliverables. Maya looked nervous. Maybe we just leave him alone, Maya said. We can't, I insisted. He's a senior strategist. We have to work with him. And right now, we can't. I need you guys to back me up. You've seen it. You've lived it. Reluctantly, they agreed. They felt the coldness too. They felt the unfairness. I compiled my spreadsheet. I printed out emails where his tone was curt, bordering on rude. I wrote a summary statement linking his behavior to the company's core values of inclusion and belonging. I felt righteous. I felt like I was doing this not just for me, but for every woman who had ever been made to feel small by a man in a tech role who thought he was too good to speak to her. I scheduled the meeting with HR for a Tuesday. The HR director, a woman named Janice, who had always been super supportive of my initiatives, accepted the invite immediately. I walked into that meeting with Maya and Chloe flanking me like lieutenants. I laid it all out. I used the buzzwords: exclusionary behavior, implicit bias, gatekeeping of information. He treats the men like peers and the women like walking lawsuits, I said, hitting my stride. He is friendly, engaging, and helpful to the male staff. To the female staff, he offers the bare minimum required to not get fired. It creates a psychological toll on us. We feel like we are walking on eggshells. Janice listened. She took notes. She looked at my spreadsheet. Her face was unreadable, which I took as professional concern. This is very detailed, Janice said, tapping the paper. You've been tracking his interactions for 4 months? I said, we needed to establish a pattern. It's not just one bad day, it's every day. And you say he refuses social invitations? Refuses them from women, Maya chimed in. He goes out with the guys constantly. We see them leaving together. Janice nodded slowly. Okay, thank you for bringing this to my attention. We take allegations of a hostile work environment very seriously. I will need to conduct a formal investigation. I'll speak to Liam and I'll speak to the other members of the team to get a 360-degree view. Great, I said. That's all we want, fairness. I left that office buzzing with adrenaline. I knew we had him. There was no way to explain away the data. He was caught red-handed, treating us like second-class citizens. I imagined the outcome: Liam getting a formal reprimand, maybe forced coaching, an apology. Maybe he'd even be moved to a different team so we didn't have to deal with the ice wall anymore. I waited a week. It was a tense week. Liam was pulled into HR, then Tyler, then Mark. I saw Liam walking around looking grim. Good, I thought. Sweat a little. Then came the follow-up meeting. I walked in alone this time. Janice had requested a one-on-one to deliver the verdict. I sat down, smoothing my blazer. So, how did it go? Janice folded her hands on the desk. She didn't look like she was about to congratulate me. She looked like a doctor about to deliver a terminal diagnosis. Chelsea, she began. We have completed the investigation. We spoke with Liam. We spoke with the male employees you referenced. We reviewed the email correspondence. She paused. We will not be pursuing disciplinary action against Liam. My stomach dropped. What? Why? You saw the spreadsheet. You saw the pattern. We saw the pattern you recorded, Janice corrected. However, Liam provided context that significantly changes the interpretation of that behavior. What context could possibly justify treating women like lepers? Liam disclosed to us and confirmed with documentation that in his previous role at a startup, he was the subject of a sexual harassment investigation. I blinked. Oh, so he has done this before. No, Janice said sharply. He was cleared, completely. It was a false accusation stemming from a misunderstood friendship with a female peer. However, the legal battle cost him his savings and nearly destroyed his reputation. His lawyer advised him that in future employment, to protect himself, he should maintain a strict policy of professional distance with female colleagues. No social outings, no personal conversations, no closed-door meetings, strictly work. I sat there, processing this. Okay, that's traumatic, I get that. But Janice, he's punishing us for that. He's dragging his trauma into this office and using it to discriminate against us. He helps the men with their work more than he helps us. That's a performance issue. We reviewed that, Janice said. We looked at ticket response times. Liam actually responds to your tickets faster than he responds to Tyler's. With Tyler, he does informal desk-side troubleshooting, which is inefficient and often undocumented. With you, he follows the protocol perfectly. He is, strictly speaking, doing his job exactly as written. But the culture, I stammered. The mentorship. Janice cut me off. Her voice hardened. We need to talk about your behavior. Mine? During the investigation, several employees, specifically the male employees you mentioned, came forward with complaints, not about Liam, about you. She opened a folder. They stated that they felt you were creating a surveillance state in the office. They noticed you timing their conversations. They noticed you watching them in the break room. Tyler mentioned that he stopped asking Liam for help as much because he saw you taking notes and felt uncomfortable, like he was getting Liam in trouble just by talking to him. I was gathering evidence, I cried. You were stalking a coworker, Janice said. The word hung in the air like a guillotine blade. You kept a log of a colleague's personal movements and social interactions for 4 months. You rallied other employees to isolate and target him. You created a hostile work environment for him, Chelsea. What? No, he isolated us. He exercised his right to privacy and professional boundaries, Janice said. You felt entitled to his friendship. There is a difference. The company cannot force a man to go to happy hour with you. We can, however, prohibit employees from maintaining surveillance logs on their peers. I felt sick, physically sick. So, what happens now? Liam has requested a transfer, Janice said. He felt that given the level of scrutiny and hostility directed at him by the client services team, he could no longer perform his duties effectively here. He has been promoted to lead data architect in the innovation division. They are located on the 4th floor. He starts Monday. Promoted. He was being promoted. And for you, Janice continued, and for Maya and Chloe, since they were active participants in this monitoring, we are mandating a series of respect in the workplace training modules, specifically focusing on harassment and professional boundaries. You're punishing the whistleblowers, I whispered. This is insane. We are correcting a toxic behavior, Janice said, standing up to signal the meeting was over. And Chelsea, if I hear about another log regarding any employee in this building, we will be moving directly to termination. I walked out of that room in a daze. I felt like I had stepped into the Twilight Zone. I had gone in trying to fight for gender equality, and I had ended up getting the misogynist a promotion and landing myself on an HR watch list for harassment. But the real nightmare was just starting, because news travels fast in an agency, and the version of the story that got out wasn't Chelsea tried to fix the culture. It was Chelsea tried to get the quiet guy fired because he wouldn't flirt with her. When I got back to my desk, the atmosphere was different. It was heavy. Tyler looked up from his screen. He saw me. He didn't smile. He didn't wave. He looked at me with something that looked a lot like fear, and he immediately put his headphones on. I looked at Liam's desk. He was packing a box. He looked calm, peaceful almost. He caught my eye. For the first time in 11 months, he held my gaze for more than a second. He didn't look angry. He just looked vindicated. He nodded once, turned his back, and continued packing his things to go to his new, better job. I sat down at my desk, opened my email, and saw the notification, mandatory training assigned. Understanding Harassment and Stalking in the Workplace. I wanted to cry, but I knew if I did, someone would probably report me for emotional manipulation. So I just sat there, staring at the screen, realizing that in my attempt to break the glass ceiling, I had just built a concrete wall around myself. The invite for the training session landed in my inbox like a subpoena. Correctional Workshop, Boundaries, Privacy, and Professionalism. It wasn't a standard HR blast to the whole company. It was a targeted missile, CC'd only to me, Maya, Chloe, and an external consultant named Dr. Eris Thorne. Walking into that conference room on Tuesday morning felt like walking into a wake where I was both the deceased and the murderer. The room was the small, windowless one near the restrooms, the one usually reserved for firing people. Dr. Thorne wasn't the corporate cheerleader type I expected. He was a clinical psychologist who specialized in organizational behavior. He didn't have a PowerPoint full of stock photos of smiling, diverse teams. He had a whiteboard and a silence that stretched out until it felt like it was strangling us. Maya and Chloe sat as far away from me as the table allowed. Chloe wouldn't look up from her notepad. Maya was staring at me, and if looks could demote people, I'd be an unpaid intern. "Let's begin," Dr. Thorne said, his voice terrifyingly calm. "We are here because there has been a fundamental breakdown in the understanding of consent within a professional environment, specifically the right of an individual to not interact socially with their colleagues. For the next 6 hours, yes, 6 hours, we were dissected. Let's discuss the communication log," Dr. Thorne said, writing the words on the whiteboard. He turned to me. "Chelsea, can you explain the psychological intent behind tracking a colleague's bathroom breaks and lunch partners?" "I wasn't tracking bathroom breaks," I argued, though my voice sounded thin in the small room. "I was documenting disparate treatment. I was trying to prove a pattern of exclusion based on gender." "By engaging in surveillance," Dr. Thorne corrected, "you felt entitled to his attention. When he withheld it, you pathologized his boundaries as bigotry. Do you understand how dangerous that is? Do you understand that you validated his fear that any interaction with you could be weaponized?" "I was trying to protect the team." "You weren't protecting anyone," Maya snapped. It was the first time she'd spoken. Her voice shook. "You were obsessing, Chelsea, and you dragged us into it. I have a warning on my file now. I'm supposed to be up for a senior lead role next quarter. Do you know what Janice said to me? She said I demonstrated poor judgment and herd mentality. You tanked my review." "I didn't force you to sign the complaint," I said, feeling the tears prick my eyes. "You bullied us," Chloe chimed in, her voice rising. "You made it seem like if we didn't agree with you, we were bad feminists. You weaponized the girl's girl thing against us. I didn't care that Liam didn't talk to me. I liked that he didn't talk to me. I get my work done faster. But you made it into this huge crusade." Dr. Thorne watched the implosion with clinical detachment. "This," he gestured to the three of us, "is the toxicity, not the man doing his spreadsheets in silence. This expectation that the workplace must be an emotional support system is what caused the breach. You destroyed the psychological safety of a coworker because he didn't validate your social needs." By the time we walked out of that room at 3 p.m., I felt hollowed out. The alliance was dead. Maya walked out the door without holding it from me. Chloe practically ran back to her desk. I stood in the hallway for a moment, clutching my certificate of completion folder, and realized that the air in the office felt different. It was quieter. The hum of conversation died down as I walked toward my pod. Liam's old desk was empty now. A maintenance guy was there, wiping it down with disinfectant, erasing the last traces of the man I had driven away. But while Liam was gone, his ghost was everywhere. I sat down at my desk and unlocked my computer. I had 3 emails, all from male colleagues, all formally declining upcoming meetings I had sent invites for, asking instead for written briefs to ensure clarity and documentation. It began. The freeze. I had assumed that once Liam was gone, the boys' club would dissolve. I thought I could go back to being the fun, chatty account manager. I was wrong. I hadn't destroyed the boys' club. I had militarized it. Tyler, the junior dev who used to be Liam's buddy, was the bellwether. Before the incident, Tyler was a golden retriever of a human, always laughing, always down for a snack run. I rolled my chair toward the aisle as he walked by. "Hey, Ty," I said, injecting maximum warmth into my voice. "Do you have a sec to look at the tracking pixel on the L'Oreal campaign? It's firing weird." Tyler stopped. He didn't step into my cubicle. He stayed in the hallway, feet planted apart, hands behind his back. "Please submit a JIRA ticket for that request, Chelsea," he said. "I know, it's probably a 2-second fix. I figured you could just eyeball it." "I cannot touch your workstation," Tyler said. He recited the words like a catechism. "Per the new directive on professional boundaries, all technical requests must go through the ticketing system to create an audit trail. I don't want there to be any misunderstanding about what I did or didn't do." He looked me dead in the eye. There was no anger. It was worse than anger. It was self-preservation. He looked at me like I was a liability, like I was a walking bear trap. "Tyler, come on, it's me." "I know who you are," he said. "That's why I need a ticket." He walked away. I sat there, stunned. I know who you are. I wasn't Chelsea anymore. I was the woman who takes notes. I was the person who turned casual interactions into HR files. The next 2 weeks were a masterclass in malicious compliance. In the corporate world, you survive on favors. You survive on the, "hey, can you do me a solid" economy? The official processes are slow and clunky. To meet tight deadlines, you need people to like you enough to skip the queue. I had zero currency left in that economy. I needed a graphic resized for a client emergency. Usually, I'd run over to the design team, beg Mark, buy him a coffee, and have it done in 10 minutes. When I approached Mark, he held up a hand before I could even speak. "Is this regarding ticket number 4092? He asked. "I haven't filed a ticket yet, Mark. The client is screaming." "I cannot prioritize undocumented work," Mark said, turning back to his screen. "I don't want there to be any misunderstanding about what I did or didn't do." He looked me dead in the eye. There was no anger. It was worse than anger. It was self-preservation. He looked at me like I was a liability, like I was a walking bear trap. "Tyler, come on, it's me." "I know who you are," he said. "That's why I need a ticket." He walked away. It wasn't just the men either. The contagion spread. Maya and Chloe, desperate to distance themselves from the toxic trio, threw themselves into their work. They became hyper-professional. If I tried to vent to Maya, she would put on noise-canceling headphones. "I'm focusing, Chelsea," she'd say. "I can't get involved in drama. I have a review coming up." I was isolated in a glass box of my own construction. I ate lunch alone at my desk every day. I stopped organizing the happy hours because nobody RSVP'd. The charity 5K I usually ran, I sent out the sign-up sheet and it came back empty. My performance metrics started to tank. Without the informal network of help, my projects dragged. I missed 2 deadlines in 1 week because I was stuck in ticket purgatory, waiting for simple fixes that used to take moments. My clients noticed. "Chelsea, you seem disconnected." One of my favorite clients, a bubbly marketing director named Steph, told me on a Zoom call. "Usually you have your finger on the pulse. This campaign feels stiff." It felt stiff because I couldn't brainstorm. I couldn't walk over to Tyler or Mark or anyone and just jam on ideas. I was working in a vacuum. Then came the elevator incident. It was a Wednesday, late. I was leaving the building. I stepped into the elevator on the 12th floor. The doors were closing when a hand stopped them. It was Liam. He walked in, followed by 2 guys I didn't recognize, people from the innovation division on the 4th floor. Liam saw me. For a split second, I expected him to flinch. I expected him to look uncomfortable. He didn't. He looked great. He was wearing a hoodie that cost more than my car payment. He looked rested. He was holding a tablet and laughing at something one of the guys said. "Fourth floor," he said to the elevator panel, pressing the button. He nodded at me. "Chelsea." "Liam," I croaked. The doors closed. The silence in the car wasn't the heavy, awkward silence of the old days. It was the silence of indifference. "So, regarding the beta test," one of the innovation guys said to Liam, completely ignoring me, "the user acquisition cost is down 40%. "That's because we optimized the algorithm," Liam said, his voice animated. "I told you, once we stripped out the legacy code, it would fly." "You're a genius, man," the guy said. "Just doing the job," Liam smiled. They were speaking a different language. He was thriving. He had moved up to the cool kids table of the agency, the place where they built the future, while I was stuck downstairs in the mud I had created. The elevator dinged at the 4th floor. "Have a good evening," Liam said to the air in general. He stepped out. He didn't look back. I rode the rest of the way down to the lobby alone, tears hot and stinging in my eyes. I realized then that I wasn't the hero of this story. I wasn't the whistleblower. I was just the girl who couldn't take a hint. Liam hadn't been oppressing me. He had been outgrowing me. He had been operating on a level of professional efficiency that I mistook for coldness because I was insecure about my own need for validation. But the final nail in my coffin, the moment I knew I had to leave, happened a week later. We hired a new account coordinator. His name was Ben. He was 22, fresh out of college, eager, with a golden retriever energy that reminded me of Tyler before I ruined him. Ben was assigned to my pod. He was going to sit in Liam's old seat. I saw this as my chance at redemption. I would be the best mentor. I would be welcoming. I would show the office that I wasn't a monster. On his first day, Ben sat down, looking nervous. "Hi, Ben," I beamed, spinning my chair around. "I'm Chelsea. I'm the senior AM for the pod. Welcome to the madness. If you need anything, passwords, coffee recommendations, where to cry, I'm your girl." Ben smiled, a genuine, wide smile. "Thanks, Chelsea. I'm super excited to be here. I might take you up on that coffee intel." I felt a spark of hope, a connection, normalcy. "Actually," I said, "a few of us grab sandwiches at the bodega around 1. You should come with." "That sounds awesome," Ben said. I turned back to my computer, feeling lighter than I had in months. About an hour later, I got up to use the restroom. As I was walking back, I passed the break room. The door was slightly ajar. I heard voices. It was Tyler and Mark and Ben. I stopped. I know I shouldn't have. I knew eavesdropping was what got me into this mess, but I couldn't move. "Look, man, you seem like a nice guy," Tyler was saying. His voice was low, urgent. "So I'm gonna give you the advice I wish someone gave me." "What is it?" Ben asked. He sounded confused. "Chelsea," Tyler said. My heart stopped. "Stay away from her. Be polite, say good morning, do the work, but do not go to lunch with her. Do not joke with her. Do not add her on social media." "Why?" Ben whispered. "She seemed super nice." "It's a trap," Mark cut in. "She keeps files on people, man. She tracked the last guy who sat in your seat for 6 months, documented every time he didn't smile at her, went to HR and tried to get him fired for exclusionary violence or some bullshit because he wouldn't hang out with her." "Whoa," Ben said. "Yeah, whoa. She's radioactive. The guy, Liam, he barely escaped with his job. He had to transfer floors. She destroyed the team dynamic. Just protect yourself, bro. Keep it strictly professional. Paper trails only." "Thanks for the heads up," Ben said. His voice was different now, guarded, scared. Yeah, I'll keep my distance." I walked back to my desk. I felt like I was floating outside my body. When I sat down, Ben was typing furiously. He didn't look up. "Hey, Ben," I said quietly. About lunch. He stiffened. He didn't spin his chair around. He kept his eyes glued to the screen. Actually, Chelsea, he said, and I heard the robotic cadence of Liam, of Tyler, of every man I had successfully terrified. I'm bringing my lunch today. I'm going to eat here and catch up on the training modules. Okay, I whispered. Sure. He had been here 4 hours, and I had already lost him. The legacy of my activism wasn't equality. It was a warning story told to new hires. I had become the office boogeyman. Watch out for Chelsea, she keeps files. I looked around the office. Maya was wearing her headphones. Chloe was staring at her phone. The men were working in silence. It was a perfectly professional workplace. No one was being excluded based on gender, technically. Everyone was being excluded equally because everyone was terrified of everyone else. I had achieved perfect equality. It was a graveyard. I resigned the next morning. I didn't make a scene. I didn't write a manifesto. I requested a meeting with Greg, handed him my letter, and gave my 2 weeks. Greg didn't fight for me. He didn't offer me a raise to stay. He just nodded, looked at the paper, and said, I think this is probably for the best, Chelsea. A fresh start will be good for you. He looked relieved. They all did. My last 2 weeks were a blur of silence. I packed my things. I documented my projects, ironically creating the most detailed handover files anyone had ever seen, because that was all I knew how to do anymore. On my last day, there was no cake. There was no card signed by the whole department. At 5 p.m., I put my badge on my desk. I looked at Ben, the new kid. He was hunched over his keyboard, looking miserable. He hadn't spoken a non-work word to me in 10 days. Good luck, Ben, I said. He jumped. Oh, yeah, good luck to you too, ma'am. Ma'am? I almost laughed. The infection was complete. I took the elevator down to the lobby. As I walked toward the revolving doors, I saw the innovation team coming in from a late lunch. Liam was there. He was wearing a blazer over a t-shirt. He looked like the cover of a tech magazine. He was walking next to a woman, not the older exec this time, but a young woman, maybe my age. She was laughing, hitting his arm playfully. You are such a nerd, Liam, she laughed. Guilty as charged, Liam grinned. He looked normal, happy, safe. He didn't see me, or maybe he did and I just didn't register as a threat anymore because I was leaving. I realized then that Liam never had a problem with women. He had friends who were women. He had colleagues who were women. He had a problem with entitlement. He had a problem with people who demanded access to his interior life as a condition of employment. And he had spotted it in me from day one. His bias wasn't gendered. It was a survival instinct. He saw a grenade and he refused to pull the pin. I was the one who decided to blow myself up to prove him right. I walked out into the cool evening air. I was unemployed. My reputation in the local industry was likely scorched earth. I had no references from my last job except a mandated sensitivity training certificate. I took out my phone to call an Uber. I opened my contacts. I scrolled past Maya. I scrolled past Chloe. I realized I didn't have anyone from work to call. I stood on the curb watching the city traffic and thought about the lesson I had learned. I had wanted to break down walls. I had wanted everyone to be family. But walls are there for a reason. They hold the roof up. And when you spend all your time trying to sledgehammer someone else's boundaries, don't be surprised when the ceiling collapses on your own head. I got into the Uber. How was your day? The driver asked. I looked back at the office building, glowing in the twilight. It was strictly professional, I said. Just drive. I need to get this down on paper or a screen or whatever, because if I keep looping this conversation in my head, I'm going to have a stroke. I'm writing this because I need someone to tell me I'm not crazy. Or if I am crazy, I need someone to explain exactly how standing up for an inclusive workplace turned me into the office pariah. My name's Chelsea. I'm 26 and account manager at a mid-sized digital media agency, and up until about 3 weeks ago, I was considered a high-potential employee. I was the one organizing the charity 5Ks. I was the one mentoring the interns. I was the heartbeat of the office culture. Now? Now I'm the person people stop talking to when I walk into the kitchen. It all started 11 months ago when we hired Liam. We were drowning in data work, desperate for a senior data strategist who could actually speak human. When Liam interviewed, he seemed like a unicorn, 28, sharp dresser, incredible portfolio, and during the interview process, he was polite and articulate. We all signed off on him. We thought he was the missing puzzle piece. But the second the ink was dry on his contract, the vibe shifted. It wasn't something you could report on day one. It wasn't overt. He didn't make sexist jokes. He didn't leer. He didn't interrupt women in meetings. If anything, he was too polite. He was like a Victorian butler dropped into a Silicon Valley startup environment. The first month, we all tried to onboard him into the social fabric of the team. Our department, client services, is mostly women. The tech and data team is mostly men. Usually, those groups meshed pretty well. We have happy hours, Slack channels for memes, lunch groups. It's a very bring your whole self to work kind of place. My work besties are Maya, social media lead, and Chloe, another account manager. We sit in a pod configuration. Liam's desk was positioned right across the aisle from us, facing the window. "Hey, Liam," I said during his first week, rolling my chair over. "A few of us are grabbing sushi for lunch. Do you want in? The spicy tuna is life-changing." Liam didn't turn his chair. He kept his eyes on his dual monitors, his fingers flying across the mechanical keyboard. "No, thank you, Chelsea. I packed a lunch." "Oh, okay. Well, maybe next time. We usually go out on Fridays, too." "I prefer to eat at my desk to maximize productivity," he said. His voice was flat, monotone. "Please let me know if you need the Q2 variance report." "Right, okay." I wheeled back to my desk, feeling a little stung. Maya shot me a look over her monitor. "Weirdo," she mouthed. We brushed it off. Some tech guys are introverts. We get it. Not everyone wants to be best friends with their coworkers. But then the patterns started to emerge, and once we saw it, we couldn't unsee it. Liam wasn't introverted, he was selectively social. 2 days after he shut me down for sushi, I watched him interact with Tyler, a junior developer who sits 3 rows back. Tyler walked up to Liam's desk holding a bag of chips. "Yo, Liam, did you see the patch notes for the update last night?" Liam spun his chair around, something he had never done for me or Maya. His face lit up. He leaned back, crossing his legs, looking relaxed and approachable. "Dude, yes, the nerf to the heavy sniper is tragic, but the map changes are actually pretty solid. Are you hopping on tonight?" They talked for 15 minutes. They laughed. Liam made eye contact. He used hand gestures. He was charismatic. Then Chloe walked by. She paused, holding a stack of files. "Oh, are you guys talking about Warzone? My boyfriend plays that constantly. He's obsessed with the new skins."